Today, I want to share with you an interview I did with somebody that took a leap of faith. He left the United States, he relocated to Asia, he started his company. He's in his mid 30s, but I want to share this interview with you because it shows you the importance of taking a leap of faith. We cannot always tell what the future's going to hold, but we can say, you know what, directionally, I feel pulled to do this. And even though I can't check all the check boxes, even though I can't dot all the I's, I can't dot all the T's, I'm going to take that chance. And I'm going to make a major change in my life because I believe my life will be better for doing it. I think it's a super important video, and I hope you enjoy it.
It's once a year to see family for a month. Yeah, from China, then I moved to Philippines and Japan, and yeah, now I have a place in Bangkok, but I'm here for a month. So yeah.
And so when you look forward 20 years, do you see yourself retiring in the U.S. or do you see yourself staying overseas?
I would say overseas. Yeah. Yeah.
And as you look at the pros and cons, what are some of the big drivers to say I want to retire overseas?
Well, I think number one is your money goes further. You know, not necessarily here. It could be, you know, there's a lot of different countries that you could live in, and well, right now the U.S. dollar is quite strong, so that's nice. Yeah, well, maybe the adventure is also a reason why I do it. Just kind of, you know, we're living in a country that's not mine, and sometimes unexpected stuff happens, good and bad. But that's in a way that's kind of my drug, you know. It's like I'm addicted to that. Like, who knows what's gonna happen next week or, you know, a month from now. So it keeps me young. It keeps me like, yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm at retirement age. I'm 38. I still want to accomplish things, but I can. In this day and age, you can do that from a computer. So a lot of people can work from their computers. So,
so what do you do now? You work remotely. You work online. What do you do?
So I still do the clothing manufacturing in China. So, but I've done it for 12 years. So at this point, I don't need to be on the factory floor every day. You know, I have people doing that. So. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm on autopilot, but I can step away from the day-to-day.
And later in today's episode, we're going to talk to a couple other people that are a couple decades ahead of you. And one of the things they've been sharing with me is just the importance of staying healthy. So you can retire abroad, that, you know, you've minimized the health issues. As you're thinking about entering your 40s, and knowing what the stress of this lifestyle is, what types of things are you thinking about so that you can stay healthy?
That's a good question. Especially living abroad, living in places like vacation places like this, right? You know, you can have a beer at 3 p.m. You know, it's perfectly socially acceptable. So you do kind of have to like keep yourself in check from the alcohol. I'd say that's my biggest problem. It's like, it's a Monday, maybe I should, you know, drink a fruit shake instead of a beer, right? So yeah,
so watching what you eat.
Yeah, watching what you eat. You know, but there's plenty of healthy options no matter where you're traveling, no matter where you go. You can find healthy food, I think. So yeah, I obviously, I want to be healthy in my 50s and 60s, so I'm preparing for that now.
So you shared with me you grew up in Michigan. I grew up in Ohio. Mm-hmm. I assume our cultures are pretty similar in this regard, that it sounds funny, but in many ways, Americans are taught to be fearful of almost every country that's outside of Europe. Mm-hmm. And you've spent a lot of time in Asia and Southeast Asia. What would you say to people that are fearful of being in Bangkok, are fearful of being in Cambodia, they're fearful of Vietnam?
Yeah, I think, well, it's something that doesn't really apply to me, so it's hard, you know, because to me, it's
But you have friends that tell you that.
I do. I have friends that tell me that. It's like, yeah, I think just do your research, you know, do your research, because I've been in Bangkok for a while. It's very safe. There's dangers everywhere, right? You step outside of your house and you get hit by a car. You know, like I mean, I ride around on motorbikes in Bangkok, and if the motorbike stops, you know, I could go flying off. So you know, there is danger there, but
It's traffic.
yeah,
It's pickpocketing.
sure, yeah, a little bit of
You're
that.
not worried about getting stabbed.
No,
I mean, that could happen.
No, not at all. Unless you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, right? You're picking a fight with the wrong person, right? But mostly, you know, if you mind your own business, you're not going to have so many problems. And yeah, you do got to watch your wallet traveling anywhere, right? But yeah, it's hard for me to give advice on that because, man, if you're fearful of that type of thing, it's kind of irrational.
You kind of have to go and experience it.
Yeah.
And realize that a lot of what Americans see on TV doesn't paint the whole reality. I mean, clearly these events happen, but the likelihood of you getting involved is pretty low.
Yeah, that's true.
Last question for you. You know, my audience is mostly people in their early 50s to early 60s that are financially independent. They used to love their jobs. They've been doing it for a long time. They still like their jobs, but they don't love it. And, you know, my message is, you know, a 60-year-old has 1,000 weeks left of healthy, active living, where they can do traveling like this. If they're lucky, right?
Yeah,
that takes you to 80. What advice would you have to somebody that's 52 and say, well, I can wait till I'm 60 to retire?
Yeah,
You're not there yet. but-
No, I did it at quite a young age, really. When I was 25 going overseas, I wasn't necessarily looking to make money. I was looking for adventure and to live my life. I didn't know if I could drop dead at 35, you know? So yeah, at 52, it's like already, you know, you just get going, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
life's too short and you're lucky if you have 1,000 weeks. So
I think deep down, many of my viewers have this desire for adventure.
yeah.
But after you've spent a 20 or 30-year career doing something that you're very good at, you can become fearful of leaving the known even though you want the adventure.
Sure.
And so I think that's good advice, Adam. That, you know, just do it. And that's one of the things I promote is the idea of a mini retirement. You know, I'm out here for a month. I worked remotely for 2 weeks. Now I've begun my 2 weeks of vacation. Together, it's a month, and I get to check it out. And I think so many people would learn so much if they left the comfort of their home for a month and just saw what it's like.
Yeah, I agree. It is kind of as simple as just do it. You know, you kind of just have to get up and just book a flight. You know, sometimes just booking a flight and you know then worry about the hotels, all the other details later. But once you get that flight, first get a passport, right? You know, I think you said 25% of America. Someone was saying 25% of Americans don't.
Only
passport.
25% of Americans
have a passport. So.
Get a
Step
passport
one, yeah.
and pay the extra $5 for a passport with 40 pages instead of 20 pages. Hopefully you'll use them.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, once you have that, it's like you're just gonna start thinking differently. I barely left Michigan my whole life. You know, Michigan, Florida, maybe a spring break in Mexico once every couple of years, but you know, once you have that passport, once I arrived in China, like Thailand, Philippines, Japan, these places were so easy to get to, and it didn't seem like such a daunting trip, right? So now it's like every month I'm in a different country, and it doesn't seem like a big deal. It seemed like quite a big deal before I had traveled to these countries, right?
Yeah. Even for me, right? I traveled 1 month out of 3.
Yeah.
And that first going through immigration, I always get a knot in my stomach. But once you've done it 2 or 3 times, then it's like, okay, it's just a routine and you get used to it.
Yeah,
You pack the bag and you move to the new place.
that's true. Yeah. That's
So Adam, it's great advice. You're wise at 38, and I think part of that came from all the traveling that you've done.
It definitely expands your horizons. You know, it's such a cliche, but yeah, you know, it does. I think it makes you smarter. Definitely made me more street smart as well. I don't really have that gene, so yeah, like I recommend it to anyone at any age. It doesn't have to be here. You know, it could be South America. It could be, you know,
Europe. Just get out of your
Europe,
comfort zone. It's
yeah.
good for you.
I personally, I didn't know much about Asia in general, but I was open minded, and that was the key. It was just like come open minded and meet amazing people, and that's been the best thing. Just
Great,
meeting
Adam.
people.
Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate
And
it.
this is Asul, and we'll be back with our next guest soon. Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed that interview with Adam. I found it inspirational. Just the importance of taking a leap of faith, that we can't know all the factors that are going to be out of our control, both the negative ones that might happen, but you know what? Also the positive ones. And that's why I made this video up here, which talks about why it might be a big mistake to wait till you're 65 to retire. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.